High above the slave pits of Omicron 4, the wind shifted. Rolling clouds of sulfuric vapors twisted and turned in the restless currents, alternately obscuring and revealing the rings of strip mines and sealed habitats below. Through it all dropped a grey brick of a craft, blocky thrusters growling and tearing at the thin atmosphere as it arrested its fall and lowered itself into an open-topped bay below. Aboard the cramped bridge, Captain Moore listened to the booming of the docking clamps echo through the walls. There is no turning back now. With a click and a hum, the comms console came to life as a bored voice grated through the aged speakers. Shipment 4732, confirm registration and manifest. This is the independent freighter John Brown, drawled the captain. Incoming from Vocturn Prime, bearing 212 labor units, 6 crates of enforcement and compliance equipment, and 17 crates of rations, 3 grade A and 14 grade C. Registration received. Standing by for cargo scan. As the captain felt the tingling itch of the deep scan intensify, he glanced back at his second-in-command. Jek Tavisk, Tantorzaf, Jeeves, nervously bouncing on his scaled feet. After a moment, the sensation faded as the voice again spoke out from the console. John Brown, stand by for causeway connection and cargo handlers. It has been a pleasure doing business with you. Giving a thumbs up and a grin to Jeeves, he received a four-handed thumbs up and a valiant attempt at a human smile in return. He watched Jeeves strap on his helmet and stride towards the back to inform the rest of the labour. Armed and armoured figures briefly became visible down the passageway before the doors closed behind him. Turning back around and tapping the console, the captain sent his reply. Of course. For something like this, I anticipate a prompt payment in full. Deep in the pits, number 37498 watched the cluster of shadows cross the blasted ground under his feet, left to right, before moving from his view. 4 scaled and clawed hands gripped the sonic hammer as it shattered the stone in a burst of fine dust and shimmering crystals. Shifting the crystals to the side, and marking the path for collection and sorting, he moved to the next section along the wall in the weary pattern that marked out the minutes, hours, and years. Break, check, sort, mark. Watch the shadows of the guards pass. The next section broke apart. Stone and dust. No crystals. Mark. Watch the shadows. Move. Today was the 15th day of the rotation. The 15th day always brought new blood into the pit. Break, check, sort, mark, watch the shadows. It was as close to a holiday as one ever saw in the pits. More new bodies meant less attention per person from the tender ministrations of the guards. Break, check, sort, mark, watch the shadows. Depending who came in, the new bodies sometimes even had news from the outside, if they were a fresh catch. A reminder of the world outside the pit, passed along in hurried whispers. Break, check, sort, mark, watch the shadows. Sometimes such news was all that kept things real, a tether to what was and may still be again. Desperately sought answers to questions of hope and fear. What happened to the colony on Tozov after the raid? Is anyone still looking for us? Break, check, sort, mark. Did help come in time? Did my son get away? Does Jek Tavask still live? Break, check, sort, mark. Number 37498 paused. Something was wrong with the cycle. The work in the pit slowed to a stop, the noise fading to a deafening silence. There were no shadows. Slowly, cautiously, eyes drifted upwards to the rim of the pit, empty of guards for the first time in recent memory. Then dozens flinched at the sudden but distant hissing pops of the guards' plasma casters echoing into the pit, only for the sound to be joined by a rising tide of the crack of ballistics and the hammering of pulse lasers. As the sounds grew closer, then started to move further away from the other pits, a shapeless blob appeared at the edge before being pushed over. It landed with a crunch at the bottom, resolving itself into the uniformed form of the pit's overseer, marked with a pair of fresh holes in its chitinous torso. At the other end of the pit, a voice called out, causing everyone's attention to snap around to the newcomer descending the long ramp into the depths, dwarfed by a cargo container on a slowly floating cargo sled beside it. The bipedal figure walked with a gleaming sidearm in one hand and a control pad in the other, wearing a travel-worn cloak over a set of battered body armor. Their voice continued to echo through the pit, amplified by the full-face breathing mask, worn under a spray of black hair. "Hello! Human? My name is Captain Moore, and I bring you good news." Stopping at the bottom of the ramp, he paused to search the faces in the crowd, before stopping at number 37498. A smile audible in his voice. "I bring you good news." He turned back to the rest of the crowd gathering in the center, clutching tools in every type of hand and claw. "Good news, and lots." He hit the manual release on the crate with the heel of his hand, causing electrical motors to start whining within. "And lots." The door fell outwards, slamming into the ground, and raising a cloud of slowly falling fine dust through which rows of gleaming racks could be seen. Of guns.